The Queen's Vision. Queen Lyra stood at the edge of her grand balcony, gazing out at the stars that flickered across the dark canvas of space. She was no ordinary queen. Known for her wisdom and compassion, she had ruled the galaxy's most advanced empire for decades. But tonight, her usually steady heart felt heavy. The galaxy she loved so much was on the brink of collapse. The Kryll Dominion, a ruthless alien race, had invaded countless systems, leaving nothing but ruin in their wake. The galaxy's combined fleets were no match for the Kryll's technology. The situation seemed hopeless. Her advisors suggested surrender, but Lyra wasn't ready to give up. "Your Majesty," her closest advisor, General Varen, said, bowing low, "the Council awaits your decision. We must act quickly." "I know, General," she replied, her voice steady but laced with tension. "But a war fought with only weapons will not be won. We need a savior, not just soldiers." The general frowned. "A savior, Your Majesty. From where? Our best minds have failed. Our greatest warriors have fallen. Who could possibly save us now?" Lyra closed her eyes, recalling the vision that had come to her the night before. It wasn't a dream. She was certain of that. She had seen a man, scared and broken, living in the shadows of a forgotten world. He was no soldier, no scholar, but he had something no one else in the galaxy possessed: the indomitable spirit of survival. "Earth," she whispered, her voice almost drowned by the hum of the wind. "Earth." Varen's tone was incredulous. "That backwater planet, what could they possibly offer us? The humans have no advanced fleets, no superior technology. They're nothing compared to the Kryll." "You underestimate them," Lyra said, turning to face him. Her emerald eyes blazed with determination. "Humans have always thrived in adversity. I have seen it. There is one among them, a man who will change everything." Varen's skepticism was clear, but he didn't dare argue further. "If you believe it, Your Majesty, then I will make the arrangements. But I must warn you, if this man fails—" "He will not fail," Lyra interrupted, "because I will not let him." Far away, on the polluted, overpopulated Earth, Marcus Malone sat on a broken crate deep in the sewers of New York City. Once, he had been a proud soldier, a hero. But those days felt like a lifetime ago. His legs were gone, lost to a bomb during his last mission. The government had promised to take care of him, but the promises had been empty. With no family, no friends, and no future, he had drifted into the shadows, forgotten by the world he had once fought to protect. The air was thick with the stench of decay, but Marcus barely noticed anymore. His sharp blue eyes stared at the flickering flame of his makeshift lamp. It was a cold night, and his blanket offered little warmth. A sudden noise broke the silence. Marcus tensed, his instincts kicking in despite his despair. He reached for the rusted pipe he kept nearby as a weapon. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice echoing through the tunnels. A blinding light filled the chamber, forcing Marcus to shield his eyes. 3 figures emerged, their silhouettes towering and alien. They wore sleek, armor-like suits that shimmered with a strange, otherworldly energy. "Marcus Malone," one of them said, their voice distorted by a mechanical translator. Marcus gripped the pipe tighter. "You've got the wrong guy," he said, his voice defiant despite the fear creeping into his chest. "No," the figure replied, stepping closer. The light dimmed slightly, revealing a tall, blue-skinned alien with piercing silver eyes. "We have the right man. Our queen has summoned you." Marcus laughed bitterly. "Your queen? What does she want with a crippled old soldier? Go back to whatever planet you came from. I've got nothing to offer." "You have more to offer than you know," the alien said, their tone calm but firm. "Our queen has seen your potential. Come with us, and you will understand." Before Marcus could respond, the alien raised a device, and a beam of light surrounded him. He tried to resist, swinging the pipe wildly, but it was no use. His body became weightless, and the world around him dissolved into a swirl of colors. When Marcus opened his eyes, he was no longer in the sewers. He was lying on a soft surface, surrounded by an enormous chamber filled with glowing crystals and shimmering walls. The air smelled clean, almost too clean, and the low hum of advanced machinery filled his ears. "What the hell?" he muttered, sitting up. "Welcome, Marcus Malone," a voice said. He turned to see a woman standing before him. Her presence was commanding yet gentle. Her silver gown sparkled like the stars, and her emerald eyes held a kindness he hadn't seen in years. "I am Queen Lyra," she said, her voice calm yet filled with an undeniable authority. "And you, Marcus, are the man who will save us all." Marcus stared at her, stunned. The words felt like a cruel joke. He was just a broken man, forgotten and discarded. "You've got the wrong guy," he said, shaking his head. But Lyra smiled, her expression unshaken. "No, Marcus, I have exactly the right man." The part ends with Marcus's face a mix of confusion and defiance, as the weight of the Queen's words begins to sink in. A broken man. Marcus sat in the grand hall of the alien ship, his hands gripping the smooth edges of the chair. The chamber was nothing like he'd ever seen before. Crystals floated midair, casting a soft, pulsing glow that shifted colors like a living heartbeat. Despite the strange beauty surrounding him, his focus was on the woman standing before him. Queen Lyra's gaze pierced through him, calm but commanding. She didn't look human. Her emerald green skin shimmered faintly, and the golden patterns etched across her arms glowed softly. Yet her presence felt oddly familiar, almost comforting. "You've brought me here," Marcus said, his voice sharp, "but I still don't know why. If you're looking for a warrior, you've wasted your time. I'm done fighting." "You're wrong," Lyra replied, her tone steady but compassionate. "You may be done with war, but war isn't done with you." Her words hung in the air like a heavy weight. "Why me?" Marcus demanded, anger bubbling beneath his calm exterior. "You could have picked anyone. Someone with legs, for starters. Someone who isn't a washed-up nobody living in a sewer." "You see yourself as broken," Lyra said, stepping closer. "But I see a man who has endured more than most. You survived where others could not. That strength, Marcus, is why you're here." Marcus let out a bitter laugh. "Strength? Lady, I can't even walk without help. How am I supposed to save your empire?" Lyra tilted her head slightly, her expression softening. "Because you're human," she said simply. "Humans have always thrived in the face of impossible odds. Your kind has something no other species in this galaxy possesses, an unbreakable will." Marcus leaned back in his chair, folding his arms across his chest. "You've got me confused with someone else," he said, his voice cold. "Whatever fight you've got, it's not my problem." Lyra didn't react to his defiance. Instead, she gestured toward a holographic display that appeared beside her. Images flickered. Burning planets, crumbling cities, and alien refugees huddled together in fear. "This," she said, pointing to the display, "is what the Krell Dominion has done to our galaxy. Millions enslaved, billions dead. And this," she pressed her hand against the display, and the image shifted to Earth, "is what they will do to your home if they are not stopped." Marcus's chest tightened. He wanted to look away, but he couldn't. The image of Earth in flames stirred something inside him, an anger he thought he buried long ago. "They'll destroy everything you care about," Lyra continued, her voice unwavering. "Your world, your people, they won't stand a chance. But you can change that, Marcus." "Me?" He spat. "I'm just a crippled ex-soldier. What could I possibly do?" "You can become something greater," Lyra said, stepping closer. "Let me show you." Before Marcus could argue, the chair beneath him shifted, its arms clamping down on his wrists. He struggled against the restraints, his heart pounding. "Hey, what the hell is this?" "This is your chance," Lyra said softly. "You have nothing to lose, Marcus. Trust me." The floor beneath him opened, and the chair descended into a dark, glowing chamber. The walls hummed with an energy he couldn't explain, and a strange golden liquid began to fill the room. "Wait!" Marcus shouted, panic rising in his chest. "What's happening?" "This is your transformation." Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber. "Do not fear it. Embrace it." The golden liquid rose, covering his body. It was warm, almost soothing, but Marcus's mind raced with fear and confusion. As the liquid reached his chest, he felt a sudden surge of energy, a burning sensation that spread through every nerve in his body. Pain shot through him, sharp and unrelenting. Marcus screamed, his voice echoing through the chamber. His vision blurred, and his heart thundered in his chest. Then, as suddenly as it began, the pain stopped. When Marcus opened his eyes, the golden liquid had receded, and the restraints released him. He stood up instinctively, then froze. He was standing. His legs, once nothing but empty space below his knees, were now replaced with sleek metallic limbs. They pulsed with faint blue energy, responding to his thoughts as if they were a natural extension of his body. Marcus stared at them, his breath caught in his throat. What did you do to me?" Lyra's voice came from above. "I gave you the tools you need to fight, Marcus. But the strength to use them, that has always been yours." The chamber doors opened, revealing Lyra standing there, her expression calm but determined. "The galaxy doesn't need a perfect warrior," she said. "It needs someone who knows how to rise after they've fallen. You, Marcus Malone, are that someone." For the first time in years, Marcus felt something stir deep within him. Hope. But with it came a daunting question. Could he really become the hero Lyra believed him to be? The part ends with Marcus looking down at his new legs, his reflection in the polished metal, and the weight of the Queen's words settling over him like a storm ready to break. The transformation. The chamber was cold, silent, and bathed in a golden light that seemed to breathe with life. Marcus lay strapped to an operating table, his heart pounding like a war drum. Around him, alien machinery hummed softly, their crystalline cores pulsating in rhythm with the light. He clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white, as fear coursed through him. "This is a bad idea," Marcus muttered under his breath, his voice trembling. Above him, Queen Lyra stood on a raised platform, her gaze steady yet compassionate. "Transformation is never easy, Marcus," she said, "but if you want to rise, you must endure the fall." Marcus barked a bitter laugh. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one about to be ripped apart by alien tech." Lyra didn't reply, but her silence was answer enough. The alien surgeons, tall and skeletal with glowing yellow eyes, moved with precision as they calibrated the machines around him. One of them turned to Marcus, speaking in a mechanical voice. "Human, your nervous system will experience discomfort. Do you wish to proceed?" "Discomfort?" Marcus snorted, his eyes darting nervously. "That's the best you could come up with. What happens if I say no?" Lyra leaned closer, her voice calm but firm. "Then you stay as you are, a man who has given up. Is that what you want, Marcus? To be forgotten." The words hit him like a hammer. Forgotten. That was what he had been for years, rotting away in the sewers of Earth. His jaw tightened as anger and determination replaced his fear. "Do it," he said through gritted teeth. The alien surgeon pressed a sequence of glowing runes on a floating console, and the machinery around Marcus roared to life. Golden liquid, thick and shimmering, poured from above, enveloping his body. At first, it was warm, almost soothing. But then the pain came. It started as a low hum in his bones, growing into a searing fire that spread through every nerve in his body. Marcus screamed, his voice echoing off the metallic walls. His vision blurred, and his body convulsed against the restraints. "You can endure this," Lyra's voice called out, steady and unyielding. "You are stronger than you think, Marcus." He wanted to fight back, to curse her for putting him through this. but the pain was relentless. Memories flashed through his mind. The battlefield, the explosion that took his legs, the faces of comrades he couldn't save. And then came another memory, a child's laughter. His sister's son, back on Earth, running up to him with wide eyes and a toothy grin. "Uncle Marcus, when I grow up, I want to be a hero like you." The thought anchored him, giving him a sliver of strength to hold on. As suddenly as it began, the pain stopped. The golden liquid receded, leaving the chamber silent once more. Marcus lay still, his chest heaving. His mind was a haze of exhaustion and relief. Slowly, he opened his eyes. "Rise, Marcus," Lyra said softly, her voice almost reverent. He blinked, confused. His arms felt stronger, his body lighter. And then he realized he could feel his legs. With trembling hands, he reached down to touch them. Where there had been stumps, sleek, metallic limbs now gleamed under the golden light. They were not human, but they moved as if they were a part of him. Marcus sat up slowly, swinging his legs over the edge of the table. The weight felt unfamiliar yet natural. He hesitated before placing his feet on the ground. "Stand," Lyra urged, her tone both gentle and commanding. Taking a deep breath, Marcus pushed himself up. For the first time in years, he stood tall. The metallic legs adjusted automatically, their movements smooth and precise. He took a cautious step, then another. A grin broke across his face, half disbelief, half exhilaration. "I'm standing," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. "I'm actually standing." Lyra descended from the platform, her steps graceful. She stopped before him, her gaze unwavering. "You have been given a second chance, Marcus. What you do with it is up to you." Before he could reply, a new figure entered the chamber. Kale, a towering alien warrior clad in crimson armor, surveyed Marcus with a critical eye. "This is the one?" Kale asked, his tone skeptical. "He doesn't look like much." Marcus bristled, his newfound confidence flickering. "You want to test me, big guy. Be my guest." Kale smirked, stepping forward. "Training starts now, human. Let's see if you're worth the Queen's faith." The part ends with Marcus squaring his shoulders, determination burning in his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt alive and ready to fight. The hidden enemy. The silence of space stretched endlessly, a dark canvas speckled with distant stars. Marcus sat in the cockpit of the alien starship, his fingers tapping anxiously on the armrest. His new metallic legs thrummed faintly with energy, a constant reminder of the transformation he'd undergone. "Are you nervous, human?" Kel's voice rumbled from behind him. The towering alien warrior leaned casually against the wall, his crimson armor gleaming in the dim cockpit light. Marcus shot him a glance. "Nervous?" "No." "Annoyed?" "Definitely." Kale chuckled. "You'll get used to it. Space travel can be unsettling for first-timers." "It's not the space travel," Marcus replied, his tone sharp. "It's this whole savior of the galaxy thing. No pressure, right?" Before Kale could respond, the ship's console beeped. The holographic figure of Queen Lyra appeared, her emerald eyes steady as they fixed on Marcus. "Marcus," she began, her voice calm yet urgent, "your mission is critical. The Krell Dominion has hidden their communication hub on a moon in the Solari system. Destroying it will cripple their coordination and give us a fighting chance." Marcus nodded, his jaw tightening. "Got it. Get in. Blow it up. Get out. Easy enough." Lyra's expression softened. "Be cautious. The Krall are cunning. They will anticipate resistance." The hologram flickered off, leaving the cockpit in an uneasy silence. Marcus exhaled and muttered, "No pressure at all." The ship landed on the barren, ash-covered moon with a quiet hiss. As Marcus and Kale stepped onto the surface, the faint hum of their energy shields cut through the stillness. The air was thin, but the alien technology kept them breathing comfortably. "Keep your guard up," Kale warned, his plasma rifle at the ready. The Crawl don't leave anything unprotected. The duo moved cautiously across the rocky terrain, their footsteps muffled by the dust. The communication hub loomed in the distance, a sleek, towering structure that pulsed with an eerie green light. "This is it," Marcus said, gripping his weapon tightly. As they approached, a sudden sound broke the silence, a faint, metallic click. Marcus froze, his instincts kicking in. "Ambush," he shouted. Crawl soldiers emerged from the shadows, their insectoid bodies gleaming under the green light. They moved with unnatural speed, their jagged weapons aimed directly at Marcus and Cale. Cale opened fire, his plasma rifle releasing bolts of searing energy that tore through the enemy ranks. Marcus ducked behind a rock, his mind racing. His metallic legs thrummed with energy, responding to his adrenaline. "Marcus," Cale barked, "get to the hub. I'll hold them off." For a moment, Marcus hesitated. He wasn't a hero, not yet, but the weight of Lyra's words echoed in his mind. "What you do with your second chance is up to you." With a deep breath, he sprinted toward the hub. His enhanced legs propelled him forward with incredible speed, and he dodged incoming fire with an agility that surprised even him. Inside the hub, the air was thick with the hum of machinery. The walls were lined with glowing alien consoles, each one pulsating with energy. Marcus scanned the room, searching for the control core. "There," he muttered, spotting a crystalline structure at the center of the chamber. As he approached, the sound of footsteps made him freeze. He spun around, weapon raised, only to find himself face to face with a familiar figure. It was one of Lyra's advisors, a high-ranking member of her court. "Marcus," the advisor said, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "You're quicker than I expected. What the hell are you doing here?" Marcus demanded, his weapon trained on the man. The advisor's smile widened. "Did you really think this was just about the Crawl? There are bigger games at play, human. You're nothing more than a pawn." Before Marcus could react, the advisor activated a device on his wrist. The crystalline structure began to glow brighter, its hum growing louder. "It's a trap," Marcus realized, his heart sinking. The advisor laughed. "And you walked right into it." Marcus lunged forward, tackling the advisor to the ground. They struggled, but Marcus's enhanced strength quickly gave him the upper hand. He pinned the advisor down, his weapon pressed to the man's chest. "You're going to tell me everything," Marcus growled. The advisor sneered. "It won't matter. You're too late." Before Marcus could respond, the hub began to shake violently. The crystalline core was overloading, its energy surging to dangerous levels. "Cale," Marcus shouted into his comms. "The whole place is about to blow. I'm on my way." Cale's voice crackled back. Marcus dragged the advisor to his feet and shoved him toward the exit. "Move." They burst out of the hub just as Cale arrived, firing at the remaining Krell soldiers. The trio sprinted toward the ship, the ground quaking beneath them. Behind them, the hub erupted in a massive explosion, sending a shockwave that knocked them off their feet. Marcus groaned, pushing himself up. His metallic legs whirred softly, adjusting to the impact. "Nice timing," Cale said, helping him to his feet. Marcus glanced at the advisor, who was being restrained by Cale. "We need to take him back to Lyra. He knows something." Cale nodded, his expression grim. "Let's get off this rock." The part ends with their ship ascending into the dark void of space, the advisor's cryptic words lingering in Marcus's mind. "You're nothing more than a pawn." The Queen's secret. The interrogation chamber was dimly lit, its walls pulsating faintly with energy. Marcus stood near the entrance, his arms crossed as he watched the traitorous advisor slumped in a chair. The man's face was pale, his once confident smirk now replaced with exhaustion and fear. "I'll ask one more time," Cale growled, towering over the advisor with his plasma blade humming ominously. "Who are you working for?" The advisor chuckled weakly, his voice dripping with defiance. You think I'm afraid of you, warrior. You're nothing but a servant to a delusional queen. Marcus stepped forward, his metallic legs clanking softly on the floor. Then you'll talk to me, he said, his tone calm but deadly. You tried to blow us all up back there. At least tell me why. The advisor's eyes flickered toward Marcus, and for a moment, something resembling pity crossed his face. You're as blind as she is, he muttered. What's that supposed to mean? Marcus demanded. The advisor leaned back, a sly grin spreading across his lips. You think she chose you because you're special, because you're a hero. No, human. You're just a tool, something she needs to unlock what's been hidden for centuries. Before Marcus could press further, Queen Lyra's voice echoed from the doorway. That's enough. Marcus turned to see her enter the room, her emerald gown flowing behind her like liquid starlight. Her expression was unreadable, but there was an unmistakable tension in her eyes. Your Majesty, Cale began, stepping aside. This man knows more than he's saying. I know, Lyra replied, her voice calm yet firm. Leave us. Cale hesitated but obeyed, casting a wary glance at Marcus as he exited. The door hissed shut, leaving Marcus, Lyra, and the advisor alone. Lyra approached the advisor, her gaze cold and unyielding. You have betrayed not only me but the very galaxy you swore to protect. Whatever allegiance you've sworn to the Crawl will not save you. The advisor laughed bitterly. You still don't understand, do you? This isn't about the Crawl. It's about power. Power you've hidden for too long. Lyra didn't flinch. Instead, she raised her hand, and a glowing crystalline shard appeared, floating just above her palm. The room seemed to dim as the shard pulsed with energy, its light casting eerie shadows on the walls. Marcus's eyes widened. What is that? The key, Lyra said, her gaze never leaving the advisor. The Crawl are not the only threat to our galaxy. Long ago, a weapon was created, one so powerful it was hidden to prevent its misuse. This shard is one of its pieces. The advisor's grin widened, and you kept it from everyone, even your allies. Tell your human pet the rest, Your Majesty. Tell him why he's really here. Marcus stepped forward, his voice sharp. What's he talking about, Lyra? Why did you choose me? Lyra hesitated, the weight of her decision clear on her face. Because the weapon was created by an ancient race, one that shares a connection with your kind. Your DNA is uniquely compatible with its technology. You're the only one who can activate it. The words hit Marcus like a freight train. He stared at her, disbelief and anger bubbling to the surface. So that's it. I'm just a key to your weapon. That's why you saved me. No, Lyra said firmly, stepping closer. You're much more than that, Marcus. I saw your strength, your resilience. You are the embodiment of everything humanity represents, hope in the face of despair. You're not just a key. You're the one who can wield this weapon without destroying us all. The advisor laughed again, his voice cutting through the tension. Do you hear yourself, Queen? You've pinned the fate of the galaxy on a broken soldier. How poetic. Marcus ignored him, his focus entirely on Lyra. You should have told me, he said quietly, his voice trembling with anger. I deserved to know the truth. I know, Lyra admitted, her tone heavy with regret. But I couldn't risk losing you. The galaxy needs you, Marcus. I need you. The room fell into silence, broken only by the faint hum of the crystalline shard. Marcus's mind raced, the weight of Lyra's words pressing down on him like a storm. Finally, he turned to the advisor. You said there's more to this. What aren't we seeing? The advisor's grin faded, replaced with a dark, knowing look. You're already too late, he said. The Crawl have been preparing for this moment for years. They know about the weapon, and they've already found the second shard. You think you're the hunter, but you're the prey. Marcus clenched his fists, his determination hardening. Then we'll stop them. The advisor sneered. You? Against the Krell fleet? You don't stand a chance. We'll see about that, Marcus replied, his voice like steel. As Lyra deactivated the shard and turned to leave, she paused at the doorway. "Marcus," she said softly, "I didn't choose you because you're a tool. I chose you because I believe in you. Don't let the past define who you are." Marcus watched her go, her words echoing in his mind. He didn't trust her entirely, not yet. But one thing was clear. If the galaxy was going to survive, he'd need to rise above his doubts and become the hero Lyra believed him to be. The part ends with Marcus standing in the dim light, the weight of his purpose heavier than ever, as the path forward grows darker and more dangerous. The final stand. The air inside the ship was electric with tension. Marcus stood in the armory, his metallic legs thrumming softly as he strapped on the last piece of his combat gear. Around him, alien weapons hummed with dormant energy, their alien designs as intimidating as they were beautiful. Kale entered the room, his crimson armor freshly polished, but his expression grim. "You ready for this, human?" Marcus tightened the strap on his chest plate and glanced at the towering warrior. "No, but that's never stopped me before." Kale smirked faintly. "Good, because if you mess up, we're all dead." "Thanks for the vote of confidence," Marcus replied dryly, grabbing a plasma rifle. A soft chime echoed through the ship as Queen Lyra's voice filled the comms. "All crew, prepare for descent. The Krell stronghold lies ahead. This is our only chance to retrieve the second shard and stop their fleet from activating the weapon. May courage guide you all." Marcus glanced at Kull, who nodded. "Let's get to it." The planet below was a jagged wasteland, its skies choked with dark clouds that flickered with streaks of green lightning. The Krell stronghold loomed in the distance, an ominous fortress of black steel and glowing green crystals. As the dropship approached, anti-air fire erupted from the ground, filling the skies with deadly bursts of energy. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring as the pilot shouted over the comms. "Hold on." Marcus gripped the nearest handrail as the ship lurched sideways, narrowly avoiding a blast. Around him, soldiers, alien and human alike, clutched their weapons, their faces a mix of fear and determination. "This is insane," Marcus shouted over the chaos. Kale grinned, his excitement evident. "Welcome to war, human." The dropship dove sharply, landing hard in a clearing just outside the fortress. The ramp lowered, and chaos erupted as Marcus and the others charged out into a storm of enemy fire. The battlefield was a nightmare. Krell soldiers swarmed from all directions, their insectoid bodies moving with terrifying speed. Marcus ducked behind a piece of jagged metal, his plasma rifle firing bursts of blue energy that struck down the closest enemies. "Keep moving," Kale roared, slicing through a Krell soldier with his plasma blade. Marcus surged forward, his enhanced legs propelling him through the battlefield with inhuman agility. He weaved through the chaos, taking out enemies as he went, until he reached the fortress's main gate. "It's locked," Marcus shouted as Kale joined him, his blade still glowing. Kale grinned. Not for long. He slammed an explosive charge onto the gate and motioned for Marcus to stand back. The explosion ripped through the air, sending debris flying. As the dust settled, the gate was nothing but a smoking hole. "After you," Kale said with a smirk. Inside the fortress, the halls were dark and labyrinthine, lit only by the faint green glow of alien technology. The team moved cautiously, their weapons at the ready. "The shard is in the central chamber," Lyra's voice crackled through Marcus's comms. "But be careful. The Krell will defend it with everything they have." As they navigated deeper into the fortress, the walls seemed to close in around them. The air grew heavier, filled with an unnatural hum that set Marcus's teeth on edge. "This place gives me the creeps," he muttered. "Stay focused," Kale replied, his eyes scanning the shadows. Suddenly, a deafening screech echoed through the corridor. The team froze as a massive crawl warrior emerged from the darkness, its body bristling with sharp, glowing spikes. "What the hell is that?" Marcus shouted. "A crawl warden," Cale said grimly. "We're in trouble." The warden charged, its claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. Marcus fired his rifle, the blasts barely slowing it down. "Move," Cale shouted, diving to the side as the warden's claws struck the ground where he just stood. Marcus rolled to his feet, his enhanced legs giving him the speed to dodge the creature's attacks. He fired again, this time aiming for the glowing core on its chest. The shot connected, and the warden let out a furious roar. "Nice shot," Cale called out, slamming his blade into the creature's side. The warden staggered but didn't fall. It lashed out, sending Cale crashing into a wall. "Cale," Marcus shouted, his anger fueling him. He sprinted toward the warden, leaping onto its back with a burst of speed. His metallic legs gripped its armored hide as he aimed his rifle point blank at the core. "Let's see how tough you really are," he growled, pulling the trigger. The blast tore through the warden's core, and the creature let out a final, ear-piercing screech before collapsing. Marcus rolled off its back, breathing heavily. That was intense. Cale groaned, pushing himself to his feet. "I've seen worse." The team pressed on, finally reaching the central chamber. In the center of the room, the second shard floated within a swirling energy field, its glow even brighter than the first. "We found it," Marcus said, relief washing over him. But before they could reach it, a new alarm blared. The walls shifted, and dozens of Krull soldiers poured into the chamber. "Defend the shard," Cale roared. The part ends with Marcus and the team forming a defensive line, the odds stacked against them as the battle for the shard. And the fate of the galaxy begins. The hero rises. The central chamber was in chaos. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, lighting the room with flashes of green and blue. Marcus stood at the heart of it all, his metallic legs planted firmly on the ground as he fought off wave after wave of Krull soldiers. "Hold the line," Cale roared from across the chamber, his plasma blades slicing through the armored enemies. Marcus gritted his teeth, sweat dripping down his face as he fired his rifle. The second shard floated in the center of the room, encased in a swirling field of energy that pulsed with power. They were so close, but the Krull weren't giving up without a fight. "We can't keep this up," Marcus shouted, ducking behind a fallen piece of debris as another blast whizzed past him. Cale snarled, throwing a grenade that sent a cluster of Krull soldiers flying. "Then we take the shard and blow this place to hell." "Easier said than done," Marcus muttered, reloading his rifle with shaky hands. As the battle raged on, Queen Lyra's voice crackled through Marcus's comms. "Marcus, listen to me. The shard's protective field is weakening. You need to retrieve it now." Marcus glanced at the shard, its glow intensifying with each passing second. Around it, the energy field began to flicker, exposing brief gaps. "I'll cover you," Cale shouted, stepping in front of Marcus and slamming his blade into the nearest Krull soldier. With no time to hesitate, Marcus sprinted toward the shard, his enhanced legs propelling him through the chaos. Plasma bolts zipped past him, but he didn't slow down. The energy field sparked wildly as he approached, and Marcus reached out, his fingers brushing against the shard. The moment he touched it, a surge of energy shot through his body, and the world around him seemed to freeze. Marcus opened his eyes to find himself standing in a vast, empty void. The shard hovered before him, its light warm and inviting. "Who are you?" a voice echoed, deep and ancient. Marcus turned, but there was no one else in the void. "I'm Marcus, just a guy trying to stop an invasion." The voice seemed to laugh, a low, rumbling sound. "You are more than that, human. You are the one who has endured, who has risen from the ashes. Are you ready to bear the burden of this power?" Marcus hesitated, the weight of the question pressing down on him. He thought of Earth, of Lyra's belief in him, of the soldiers who had fought and fallen to get him here. "I don't know if I'm ready," he admitted, "but I'll do whatever it takes." The shard's light brightened, and the voice spoke again. "Then take this power and use it wisely. The galaxy depends on you." The void disappeared, and Marcus was back in the chamber, the shard glowing brightly in his hands. A surge of energy coursed through him, and his metallic legs thrummed with newfound power. Cale turned, his eyes widening. "Marcus, what did you do?" "No time to explain." Marcus shouted, "We're getting out of here." He activated his comms. "Lyra, I've got the shard. Prepare the ship for extraction." As the Krell soldiers closed in, Marcus raised the shard. A wave of energy erupted from it, sending the enemies flying back. The energy didn't just repel them, it disintegrated their weapons and shattered their armor. "Impressive," Cale muttered, a grin tugging at his lips. "Let's move," Marcus said, leading the charge toward the exit. The team fought their way through the fortress, the shard's power creating a protective field around them. When they finally reached the ship, Marcus collapsed into a seat, his hand still gripping the shard tightly. As the ship ascended, the fortress behind them erupted in flames, consumed by the energy of the shard. The Krell's stronghold was no more. Back on Lyra's flagship, Marcus stood before the Queen, the shard resting in a containment unit between them. "You've done more than I could have ever asked," Lyra said, her voice filled with gratitude. Marcus shook his head. "This isn't over. The Krell still have their fleet, and they're not going to stop coming." Lyra smiled faintly. "No, it's not over. But thanks to you, we have hope." Cale clapped Marcus on the shoulder. "You're not bad for a human. Maybe even decent." Marcus smirked. "Don't get too sentimental on me, Cale." As Marcus walked away, he glanced out the viewport at the stars beyond. He wasn't the same man who had been dragged from the sewers. He was something more now, something stronger. The galaxy wasn't safe yet, but for the first time in a long time, Marcus believed they had a fighting chance. The part ends with Marcus staring into the vastness of space, the shard's faint glow reflected in his eyes, as the ship prepares for the battles to come.